Sorry, say it again.
I'm just walling choke. That's all that I'm here for.
We
Or
don't.
am I playing PL?
Okay, so we aren't really like wall choke because walling choke is kind of just too easy for them to break, especially with like the damage that wall takes in. So if they go for the rotation pagoda, which like is right where I'm shooting, if they rotate here, we try to wall. And if they rotate here, we just wall them here, and we just try to collapse here.
Okay.
If we're running in a main mirror, try to force out their May cryo before anybody else. Sigma up here with me.
Let's get moving. Enemies in our orbit.
They're TPing well. Let's get a push on front.
Back it up.
Good half. I'm all back. Yeah.
That's one up.
Wait, are you guys scrimming already?
I still have a job.
Yeah, we're scrimming.
Who's the sixth player?
Toki. We just put it in because you were in Narnia.
Oh, I was going to the bathroom.
Please move
Oh,
shit.
Sorry, my bad.
Objective.
We'll put you in there.
They're telling right, I think.
Defense point.
Yeah, I don't think I have
Objective
ults
B.
here, to be honest.
Yeah, they tell it right. They tell it right.
Point. More
Let's go half. I have Parkinson's. Holy shit.
Point.
This looks half.
That's okay.
I still have a job.
Coming back in from the stall here.
Yeah, they got it.
You said I thought we were gonna draw?
Drop. Draw the map, boys. Let's go.
You can you don't even have to do that. If you just hit L and then swap sides and reset, that works as well.
Okay, I'm not. Yeah.
I say even that, if like it's a full cap, there's no point in like resetting or like going back to lobby.
Traveling to Hanamura. Prepare to attack. Select your hero.
All right. Great stuff so far.
It's 2 CP. No one really likes 2 CP, and most people just opt for the sim anyway.
We can probably put him in, can't we? Max, are you sorry, Ming, are you in the lobby?
Yep, just invite me whenever.
Sorry, Toki.
Get me out of here right now. My fucking aim is Parkinson's or hit scan.
Traveling to Hanamura.
I don't know what it's been, but like lately my hand just shakes like fucking crazy. Generally why I play
I have the
fucking
game
main
sense.
support and tank.
Oh my god.
All right.
I have the game sense of a mom that's not paying attention to her kids at McDonald's.
Alright, so you guys can all run out the same thing, or you guys can take it into like super spam, which would be the Hanzo Mei with the Bap Zen. If you think they're going to be running out the brawl though, I want you to mirror that with the standard comp that you just rolled out with on the defense.
Babson or Babasio?
You'll be doing Bap Lucio.
Is that flex support or main support?
That's flexible.
It kind of goes around on either way. Generally, you'll see most of the time like the main support will be taking it, but if you're going to be running out Lucio, generally your flex support takes them. That way you have a transition where your main support can still play Zen if you want to like keep window transfer over for like a safer ultico.
Are you more comfortable on a Hanzo or Mingo?
Whichever, up to you.
Generally keep your hit scan onto the Hanzo. That way, if you take the swap over to like Creme, then you have a safe swap without sacrificing your eco towards like Flux or Blizzard.
5, 4, 3.
You're a Widow player, right? So probably Widow the Hanzo.
Yeah.
Capture objective A.
Point. Break the shield. Shield's up in 3, 2. Point. I need to reload. Shield's going up in 1. Point.
They got one.
Going, going, going.
Audio.
First no ship.
Shields up and
First one, first one.
One. Shields up. Going, 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 going.
You can go right, go
Go,
right.
go, go right, go right, go right, go right. Go right. Going, going, going. Oh shit. Oh, we're cut off.
I didn't realize we were rotating.
Gauge the mortality field. Yeah.
Can combo flux with dragon.
Analyzing
It's
previous
called a
combat performance.
Going, 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 going.
Dragon here.
Pull someone into it. Pull the
Rissa,
Rissa.
Rissa.
Rissa one. Pull Rissa.
Basic study.
I have bomb. Pulling.
Reloading.
I'm dead.
Alright, check in.
Oh, they
Getting
don't fast.
pretty
We pull flags and we win. They don't use beat. We pull flags. Easy.
I have my bongo here.
I must.
Yeah, but-
My ultimate is ready.
Yeah, we just pull it. We just push it and pull, and we're good.
They're gonna have nailed splitter.
Focus the signal.
My supercharger is ready to be deployed. Prepare for combat and cease your resistance.
Going.
Middle.
Signal.
I have blizzard here.
Big. Break bongo.
Uncle one.
Bap.
Rissa one.
Sit down, take point.
Echo. Nice here. Good job, guys.
Objective capture. Kill.
These trees.
No.
Okay,
No.
I'll have
Are we doing any swaps between this?
60 seconds remaining.
Sparta. No.
Objective A captured. Please commence attack.
Okay, we're going in this with me and Bongo.
Does window increase dragon damage?
I don't think
I guess I guess we can do like a pull dragon.
Wait for a sec.
Hold up.
Oh, they're maze with them.
Let's go.
They just pull.
Pulling. Dragon.
Mortality.
They use them.
Oh, fuck.
Wait, we'll Nice.
We lost.
Get out.
I'm dead.
Okay, I want you to clear out that left side balcony and then take your push from there. So you should have it. So escort basically control for your supports and then take your push. Don't worry about necessarily the top right area. At least not taking that balcony area away
I
from
got
you.
Echo.
Engaging fortification.
I don't know that
Let's talk about it. Where are you pushing? What are you gonna do?
We're gonna take the high ground. And they use Maywall. So we can take it back. Clear. Lower balcony's clear.
now.
I'm using pull.
Echo left side, Lucio left side.
Big wall. Focus down neck.
They fucked up their
Break
wall.
wall. They dropped the point. I'm pulling. Big pull.
Here, I have blizzard for next pull.
Dragon.
Alright, I'm gonna pull in 3, 2, 1. Pull. Yeah.
Echo's ulting.
That's a lot of bolts. Rissa. Main. Hold on. Maze one. Come back. Tomorrow. Nice shot. Echo.
Nice, Echo down.
Main. Rissa. Lucio. Bubble ball. Ball. Huge. Moira.
Lucio one, Lucio one.
Lucio. Doom.
First half, first half. One.
Ball. Ball. Reset. Lucio. Point. Big. Doom. Nice job, team. Nice job. Ball.
Nice.
Watch left.
Nice job, team. Let's go.
So with target focus, if you guys are following up into the same target as like whoever's getting called, I want to hear everyone calling out. I want to hear like 4 people calling Lucio if it's shooting. It's going to reinforce that that's the primary target you have to go on, and then in between that, if you have information be feeding like may no cryo, like you can be calling that out. When you guys were taking that initial high ground area, go to your next map. So let's move you over to like King's Row. So with the initial like idea of like taking up that top right area, that's good, but I genuinely don't want to feed up that balcony. You were coming up with like window. They're holding that angle on that left side as soon as you walk through to push onto you, and they're just spamming it with echo. They're building up other ults and flushing out like CDs to we'll find like their push point to flush you out of there. So like what you could be doing there is taking that left side balcony and like popping a window and pouring massive spam damage in, forcing them off that ground, that once your tanks take that transition to point, like your supports can move up there. And that's pretty much a free flush out with just one ult without having to consolidate into like heavy damage sets, which are like pouring into you. Generally the comps that I'll give you, like unless like I'll give you guys like if you guys need to be making swaps, at least at the very least, if you need to make like a major swap, I'll let you know. But you can primarily stick with what I'm giving you. You'll be able to roll through them consistently through the scrim. With the shield rotation that you're going through, does anybody here have an idea of how you should be rotating your shields and double shield?
I actually don't know that.
It's like a Visa shield first, then Sigma shield, then Sigma eat grass, whatever.
Here, just hand me the lobby lead. I can just move everything over and do it while I'm talking. With how you should be doing it is I want you setting out Sigma shield first, because one, you can advance forward with Sigma shield, right? And you can prolong the health of your Orisa shield. So you can gain like a good set of like they want to do what?
They want to do Volskaya.
They want Volskaya?
Yeah.
We just played TCP.
We'll
Yeah,
tell them we'll go back to it after we do like every
Okay,
map
and
type.
they said otherwise Dorado.
They said otherwise Dorado? Okay, then we'll do Dorado. So I want you starting off with Sigma shield. One, because this will allow you to move up forward, right? This will prolong the HP set of your Orisa shield. Then you can be using your Orisa shield. Then it'll be back to Sigma. Then you'll flux. And then Sig Orisa, and it basically resets. The reason you're fluxing after you use your second set on your Sigma shield is one, it gives you that HP set, and that will allow you then to pivot around your Orisa shield. We're going to have you on super spam to start here, so that means you're going to be on Bap Zen, Hanzo Mei, Orisa Sig.
When you said flux, you mean you, right?
Like the grasp. Sorry, I confused them. So, and with that, and once you gain that grasp and you gain that massive HP lead through Sigma, I want you to communicate with Mingo to like, hey, I'm taking left side or I'm taking right side Mingo. And Mingo, like that means like your Sigma's there to reinforce you to flank. Because if you guys split up, you'll be forcing like their defensive resources to split heavily, which inherently weakens their resources.
Did you say after E?
Yeah, after E. Because then you gain that massive shield lead on Sigma himself, so it's harder to instead a pick on you, so it allows you to take that flare.
Sig E.
Yeah, essentially. If you run into dive and you feel like you're struggling against dive, then I want you taking it over to a McCree over the Hanzo. But I want you to at least give it 2 fights on what you are currently.
Roger that.
Payload progressive.
Escort the payload.
Excellent. Activating the barrier.
Monkey.
Some behind. Echo behind too. Echo one. Lucio left side. Summer behind.
I'm hacked.
Summer one.
More.
Diva.
Nice job, team.
What should we do now?
Let's push up here. There's a Lucio. There's a Lucio.
How do I
Can we get the
use
Lucio
my-
with me? Can we get Lucio with me? Can we get Lucio?
You can be pretty leisure with your immo. But if you expect them like coming up on like
He's
bombs,
going
such
around.
like that, like win conditions that you know you can deny with immo, then I'd rather use immo. Between you and Zen, communicate how you're gonna use your defense.
Ursa wall, Ursa wall, Ursa wall. Free back, free back, free back.
Huge. Nice job, team.
Nice job.
Push up, push up,
We can
push
get
up. Take space.
backers.
Take space here. Take space.
On the back.
Okay, Bab's on bar.
I'm not getting more.
You go push up. Alright. Wait, push card, okay.
What else do they have? If anything, actually, I'm just.
They're going high ground.
I have Bongo. Pull Sigma off high ground.
Bad pull.
Pull Sigma
bad
on high. Pull Sigma off high ground. Get Sigma, Sigma, Sigma. Sigma.
Nope.
Sigma, Sigma.
pull. Nice, nice. Man.
Lucio, Lucio. Echo 1, Echo 1.
I go half down.
I'm low. Nice. We might be able to get the.
Oh, I got
We can
it.
pull Orisa, then I can probably wall. He's one HP. Fuck.
Shield it. Break the rest of the shield. Break Sigma shield.
Zone.
Okay, nice job, guys.
I think 6. Going with that.
For your own safety. Enemies here.
They're going high ground. They're going top right, top right.
Right.
Hold them off. Hold the wrist off. I'm backing up. I'm backing up.
Use them all.
Arrest one.
Big.
More.
Watch stick.
No one, no one.
Shield it, shield it. Break.
Shield.
Lucio.
Man, no wall. May discorded half. No cryo.
Lucio one. Where?
Down, me down. More down.
Nice job.
We can. They're sick and risk.
Try to spread your ult usage out a little bit. You're stacking too many win conditions over each other.
Yeah, let's plan all turtles. Alright, what's...
What are we using next fight?
Get up to you.
Here, after we bid out
Pull
gold, we
after
can
flux. Don't pull for flux. Trust.
What
Pull
did
out.
you say about that?
Don't pull for flux. Pull after flux.
I'm saving my ammo for ult.
bait out Orisa. I'm happy. Back there.
Sigma's broken. Point.
Nice.
Big.
I go behind.
They wasted.
I go behind that coin. Use them all.
I'm dead.
Alright, check it.
Navigation system to defense.
How long have they let go?
In Blizzard next fight.
They've had him since the start of the game.
They have
I
duplicate.
must
They have
rejoin the
duplicate.
team.
Okay, they duplicate. These bonkers.
You guys want to pull dragon?
Probably wanna.
You need to start dragon
Probably wanna
and tell me
pull
pull. Okay? You start dragon and tell me where you're putting it. And
Okay,
then
one side, upstairs.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
hold them up to high ground.
We get back here. We don't need to engage.
Yeah, back.
Help us take up.
I got caught. Yep.
Backing up. Down two.
Back if you can. That's right.
Complete.
Do we wanna Blizzard or full dragon next fight?
Payload stopped.
They just beat that fight. They just beat it. So we do pull dragon.
Yeah, pull dragon,
Alright.
and then we can save the rest of our ultimates for capping the last point. Last fight.
I gotta do full
We can
dragon.
break the shield. No.
And then.
What do they have?
Go.
Alright, dragon.
Wait that out.
Dragon is our ult.
Just
Dragon
back out.
is- Get out. We lost our save.
Back up.
Fortifying defenses.
Same plan.
Careful with me.
Window 4.
My ultimate is ready.
Okay, stick here.
Echo to site.
Echo on me. Echo. Fuck, he's 1 HP.
Pull back.
I'm low. I can't. We can push in here. They have no
Yeah, push
resource.
on
They
him,
just
push on him,
crashed
push
the
on him.
field.
Dragon in here. Actually, go.
Watch me. Echo behind as well.
Okay, go on with 6.
Break Bongo.
I broke Bongo.
Rush him one.
Oh, they come forward looking up.
I'll save you. Come in.
Come on.
Round 3.
6. Pulling 6.
Surrounded.
Go sick.
Executing Viking.
You're the last one alive. No.
Finish them off.
What do they have? Do they have window? Do they use it?
After cease.
They
Oh,
probably...
I got fingered!
That's
it's okay.
okay.
Oh, I'm losing my blade.
See that which is unseen.
I think I should just do the pre here.
We must get the page moving again.
Just do full dragons.
I don't have
You
dragon.
don't have
We don't
dragon.
have dragons.
Use my fire.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Burn their shields up.
Signal.
Try and kill sick. Try and kill Echo. Echo 1. Nice.
Raise demo.
Pull him. Oh. Ursula's down to you.
Got Ursa. That's fat. We can do it here.
Break the shield.
Damn it, dude. They use field. You can pop it.
Big.
Go behind, fine.
I'm getting frozen. Keep me up. Okay, thank you. Echo behind.
Man.
Kill me.
Frozen. Alonzo. I'm gonna have Blizzard again.
Oh, we got walled off.
Back. That's fun.
System restart initialized.
What do they have? They use window. They use.
Yeah, they
use.
so.
They use.
Window duplicate flux.
Is it bongo?
Freeze. They freeze. Yeah, they freeze.
Pulled.
Yeah, they.
Pulled that. Works our VAP ship.
We're gonna dragon first.
Yeah, we can pull dragon.
Wait for Bat. We're not getting in there yet.
Careful, Ursa.
Defense mode activated.
They're probably gonna push him. Oh, no, thing. Okay.
Dragon wherever.
The dragon consume you.
One bongo. Oh, we got this.
Me.
I countered. Lucio Rosen. Where is me?
Point.
I got it.
Point. Oh,
Breaking shield.
May one. Oh, shit.
Arrested one.
Changing position.
Alright.
Okay, so a couple of things. Understanding alt. What? Okay. I don't know what. Don't know why I put us on Havana. Should have done that.
Alright, talk about our game, please.
Okay. So, going into like your win conditions, what are basic win conditions into double shield spam?
Prepare your defenses.
Flex, pull,
Select your hero.
Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Pull plus like any ultimate.
So pull plus any ultimate, generally, yes, that can be an idea. Usually you pull after flux to lock them in place. You don't want to be pulling for flux because normally you're either trying to force out trans, beat, or like IMO. So if you get two people, generally you're going to force those out, so there's no need for the pull. That way, if they get slammed down with the low HP set you have, you just lock them in place with the pull afterwards. Now, understanding what is a tempo ultimate compared to a like individual ultimate. Do you know what I mean by tempo ultimate?
Like,
Nope.
just to push pressure or kill ultimates.
Like usually like a tempo ultimate is something like, yeah, put pressures away, but you control the tempo of the fight. A really good example would be would be like bongo, would be window, or like trance, because it controls the pacing of the fight. Are you gonna push and make space? So like window, bongo are really good space maker ultimates rather than just securing kills. If you get kills, that's good, but it's not good enough, right? You want to secure space with it. Dragging the Force IMO is really good. Flux to force out any support ultimate or IMO, or mail to finish. Where is Aviva?
So we want to be using dragon over
Ava,
Blizzard.
are you here?
Like if we have dragon and Blizzard, we use dragon first.
If you have Dragon and Blizzard, so generally like Dragon will be great for forcing out IMO or for trans, depending if they don't have IMO. And then you can Blizzard afterwards if you haven't don't have a clear indicator you've won the fight. If you want to look to take a corner or take more space down a lane, window and bongo are really great. you'll see May ult or like Sigma ultimate be way more mid-fight oriented. So you'll use them because that's where the CDs are at their lowest. So you'll gain more value from them. So you're squeezing that value out.
Your safety is my primary concern.
With the what do they say? With when you're using window, like a lot of the time it's generally like gonna be like your Bat, your Zen, or others to be using that like window to their advantage. So like tank, if a BAP is healing through window, like be pushing forward, be taking that space. So one, you have the point presence, so that the pressure your tank line back, take that point presence back, and then because like if they're shooting through that window, they're sustaining you, you're mainly not gonna die, especially even if you have an IMO of access. You just have constant pressure at that corner and you really anchor out, especially with Flux as well to sit on top of you and give your Sigma a mass HP lead. You should be playing for those benefits. I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys, but if I'm going too fast, slow me down.
I'm running a Junkrat. Sick half.
Shield up.
We can drop down around. We can go around. I'll have wall in 3. Got Orisa.
Big wall. Orisa. Going. I need help.
Sick half. Sick one. Orisa.
Huge.
Lucy behind. Go point. They're down 2.
Sigma. Sick.
One. That's down. Damn it. I got That's so much.
I've lost my voice.
Shit,
I'm sorry. I can't call like I did first.
Okay, what do they have? What do you think they're gonna do, and how are you gonna play around that?
They have Flux tire.
Kip.
Probably close. Flux.
They have window.
I'm gonna blizzard here.
I can drag another.
I have blizzard. That's big. I water Orisa.
Big.
Break the field. Orisa.
Oh crap.
Lucio.
Sick. Echo 1. Jump. Echo 1 HP.
Chuck's still alive?
Echo's literally 1 tap. Literally 1 tap. Yeah,
Nice job.
Supercharger is ready to be deployed.
If you're looking to mail, or if you're looking for ultimate, I want you to say that you're looking for it. Because if you guys have a different plan, I want you to call it off.
Okay, we're gonna flex, and I'm gonna pull once the people let me flex.
I might look for a window here. It's small.
Hey, play this corner.
Alright, window early.
Break their shield.
That's bad. That's 6 half. Oh, spread. It's coming from top, I think.
Stars winning.
Ursa half HP.
Team kill.
Are these Flux tire?
My supercharger is ready to be deployed. Prepare for combat enhancement.
Oh, my bad. Echo 1.
They have a.
Echo down. Oh shit.
Sig and Lucio. Oh shit, I got booped off.
Sig one.
Supercharger is ready to be deployed.
Okay.
Or we can pull after.
I'm gonna have Blizzard.
I'm almost back.
We're gonna have
My ultimate is ready.
So we can.
I DC'd. Can you pause? Damn it.
windowing.
Sorry, I DC'd my internet.
Fuck.
Sick frozen. Kill sick.
Dead though. All
They just
dead.
beat there, right?
We're all dead. My bad.
My ultimate is ready.
Lots of Trum's car. Hunger around the corner. Watch your tire.
Oh no.
Come on. Signal rock. Signal rock.
Round 1. Complete.
Alright, we did Volskaya now?
Now
what's going on?
entering King's Row.
We'll go to Volskaya after you do one of each type
Prepare
here.
your defenses.
So, if you guys are having struggle
Select
going
your
against the
hero.
Echo, then I want you going to like Moira Lucio with the Creme
Okay.
change up. So we'll start you off on spam here, or actually no, we'll start you off on that composition I just gave. So you're gonna be on Moira Lucio, Creme, and we're gonna put you on the Sigurissa for this defense. You are going to be playing a brawl style composition, so you're going to want to control the tempo. So a lot of this is you're going to meet rotations, and you're going to try to push in. Remember the CD prio that I gave to Todoroki? So if they have a Mei, your first goal is to freeze that Mei, force her to cryo, because then she's going to lose all self-sustain. She'll become an easy pick. Then you can look for like Sigma, you can look for Orisa. In that process, you can be walling before, if you know like, oh hey, when we collapse on this wall, I go straight for the Mei.
Optimal chance of survival.
So I can invest my entire wallet just for the Mei.
No, not just for the Mei. Like if you know you're gonna be like, okay, hey, we're gonna be collapsing on the tank line here. I get a really good wall. When we collapse on that tank line, my goal is
Hey,
to
pause. Yeah.
my goal. Then that's like saying basically, oh hey, they're rotating here. I'm gonna wall. But I know when we collapse on this, my goal is to make sure the Mei doesn't get in here and freeze. So if I see her as soon as possible, I'm gonna instantly start freezing her, force a cryo out of her. But
Wait,
once you
restart?
force, I don't think you need to restart here. I think you'll be fine. Your Lucio can taxi.
I'm also gonna be right back,
Is-
so I'll let you know.
Do we just say one's going AFK?
Someone's one though.
Yeah, you're in spawn. You have a Lucio. He can taxi you. It's fine.
Okay.
Who just said they were going to be walking away for a second? Avivo here, right?
Hello.
Communix. Okay, what about Eternal?
Here.
Okay, Kip, Max.
Yep, here.
Okay, then it is Communix. So. When you're taking in your aggression as a team here, this is going to be a lot more advancing forward with your Sigma shield and then plopping your Ursa shield down pretty much in the brawl so you can dance with it. You can play this a little bit slow to play like that spam, but it's not going to be strong if they play like Hanzo spam. You'll have to brawl into them or else you're not going to win that matchup. If you're having trouble with sustain problems, you feel like they're melting out too fast, then you take that over what is it? Kip, move over to a BAP then, and then you guys will BAP Lucio. Like I said, if I'm throwing too much information at you, you guys can tell me to slow down. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
I'm back.
Hey.
All right.
All right, well,
Welcome
I'm gonna
back.
play aggressive, so you guys better be aggressive.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, so that means Mingo immediately on the Kree. Kip go, or not Kip. Vivo, make sure you go grab him.
Alright, what did I miss?
Oh, we gotta get our
You are
crease.
advised to
aggressive.
be behind 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Defend objective A.
Which is one.
What the?
I don't know.
Echo one,
Echo one.
Break shield, break shield, break shield, break shield.
Ursa shift, use it.
Going. Oh, they wall up, wall up.
6, 6, 6.
No. 6.
Back a little, back a little.
Shielding.
Remember, your goal is
Going.
to brawl.
Hold on. Help, Echo.
Give me up. Going.
Shot called.
Keep me up. Ursa's down. Big. Keep me up.
6, 6, 6.
Back up. Close.
Remember, your goal is to brawl, so you need to clap as a team. Like that means tanks too.
Okay.
I but it feels like we're just backing up constantly.
They use Cole there.
Objective
We
ready
got,
to be deactivated.
we were down early.
Stop the pain.
I don't think they're at beat yet.
Their Sig is super far up.
Back up, back.
I'm good. Six. Take first.
Oh, I got a pull here.
Six, kill six.
That's
Nice,
actually
pick.
going on.
Push up and wipe him. Push up and wipe him. Nice. Push up and wipe him.
Shield. I have Blizzard here.
Reset. Lucio.
Nice.
Are we playing here or are we gonna play the back corner?
We're gonna play corner.
Okay.
Come back.
Please move behind the barrier.
Okay, get up. If it more behind first though.
They're gonna have
Break
Blizzard.
station.
I'm gonna force speed out, okay?
I almost have Bongo here.
Pull after, okay? Come
Nice pull.
Reach low.
Six. Ursa.
Using Bongo.
My bad.
Lucio down. Yeah, one. Oh, they left it up. Nice.
Nice run.
Point.
I fall, so you're good.
Ursa. Hey.
Can I get taxi?
Oh, that's a fucking. Alright, go. That was a fat finger. I was supposed to use the ball. Holding on this one. Oh, fuck,
Get out.
Echo's top left.
Careful, you're not too. Careful.
Remember, if you gain a 1-man to a 2-man advantage, you immediately need to run in and brawl. Your comp is inherently better in every sense of the word.
Yep.
If we play close, we're off. They won.
Give me up. Oh,
Six.
Adaptive circuits engage. Or reset.
Give me up.
Reset.
They're gonna clutch things by. They have a
Moira might be on the back.
Cease. I am not ready to be deactivated.
Double pull is so weird.
Bro.
Grab.
Alright,
There's a Lucio bot.
Lucio shit. I didn't see them beat at all.
Alright, we gotta wait for Mora. We're at 5.
I got
Get out. Taxi.
We need to test last point.
Yeah, we can.
do they have
Alright, let's go.
I can't. Oh, they go.
There's back up. They're gonna chase us to spawn.
Okay, let's hang out right side.
System restart initialized.
Very soon,
Yeah,
they're gonna have
they beat.
They definitely have it now.
I'll get beat out again.
Alright, roll here. Push up the corner. Get up the
I'm
corner.
full, I'm gonna use it ASAP.
Break shield.
Going. I'm holding on to Lucio.
Pulling.
Nice
That's
pull.
big.
Give me up.
I got boost.
Big. Give me.
Man, Ursa. Help Ursa.
Echo one.
I will not be denied. Barrier activated.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we're
I'm not there. Back up.
No, you
What
stay
the-
up. You
what?
can fight back if need be, but keep your position up there.
Hey, Lucio, come up here.
We need doubles. Careful.
Back up. Okay, stay here. Stay corner.
I have my shield and run.
Stay.
Going.
Using full ASAP.
Ursa. Nice.
Get bongo.
Back one. I'm one. Lucio.
Going.
Lucio won this one. Nice. Push it. Speed. Get the second.
They're on the left side. Nice, dude.
Might be able to get more.
Oh, nice shot.
Oh shit! Oh, I fucked up the wall. That was a nice rock.
Back.
I can one.
Bongo here.
My ultimate is ready. Come to my position.
When they meet you on shield, you can look for a wall to immediately quick paint line and take the brawl.
Sick half.
Adaptive circuits engage.
Taking off logs.
Here we can back here. Wait for. That's big. This is fast.
Point.
They give me no space. They give me no space. That's
Big.
Sigma down.
Ursa frozen.
Going.
Three. Oh, they walled up. Army separated. Let's go right side. Go right side. Okay.
Alright, return.
Okay. Nothing. Going orb. Going. Holding us.
Going. I'm down here.
Okay, I'm back in somehow.
Put a card for you. Lucio 1. Ursa 1 HP. Get out.
Go.
Come on. You're actually
Point.
6. Echo 1. Damn.
More. Nice job.
Good job.
Heal Mingo.
Pop.
Sorry, I was like lagging there for some reason. I was fucking fun.
Here, let's push out so we can get ult charge.
Cool.
They're probably gonna push in with it. I can just play back. I'll wall.
Ultimates. What are we doing?
That's unlucky. Just back up.
Yeah, back up. Tight.
Ursa half, shift.
We don't have blizzard. I do orb before I die.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Big, that's actually you.
Lucio.
Oh, the on. That's unlucky.
Sure, that's my bad.
Okay,
Nice
Good
job.
job.
so you guys are doing well at brawling on it, but there's a lot of areas where you're conceding space when there's no need. Even if you're dropping your create, they don't have IMO, right? They have no way to at all
What is
defeat
IMO?
aggression in that sense. You can be freezing out, cleaning into a tank, maybe cleaning to one, taking a man trade back, and as long as you're brawling and kiting back slowly, basically, let's take a fight, we kite back a little bit while that fight's happening. Hold now at this next anchor corner, and then our Kree's probably back in the fight anyways. You guys will then push in harder back into them, and because you're doing so, you've wasted out so many CDs on their end. They don't have CDs to refute your aggression, so it ends up justifying your aggression to make it a stronger push point. Does that make sense?
You used a word back there that I don't know what that means. I don't remember.
What do you mean? Like push
You
points?
said they don't have any something.
Unless there's something to worry about.
Or
As Dr.
I think you said
always
CDs as a cooldown.
not,
Yeah,
not,
CDs
not
are
that,
cool,
not that. I know what that is. There's something else.
30 seconds.
IMO, like in immortality.
Oh.
They
Yeah.
don't have that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know what that meant.
If you're going to be looking for High Noon, make sure you communicate it, because you can be using that aggressively as you can be speeding your Kree up, because we're going to kite back that, so just amp your Kree out, and they have to keep conceding space.
Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
If you struggle on this, then take it to Battle Lucio.
I'll shield her down.
Break, both of
That's big. Back
One,
up,
one,
back
one.
up. Six. Probably could have walled him.
I have pull. Everyone's here. Okay, I'm gonna push the wall.
They won.
Yep.
One.
Yep. Push.
They came back. That's I'm walled too. Run, Ursa.
Point.
I'm one.
Maze, ice wall. Main wall. abilities.
Six. One. Man. Nice. Alright, we have Lucio next fight.
Lucio. Okay, let's push
Champ,
up.
let's actually have
Let's
you
push
move
up
over
here.
to BAP after you take the cap here.
Let's push up here.
Okay.
What else do I have? What's going on?
What?
We're gonna have
What are we
Blizzard
doing
here. Got Ursa.
Big hole.
That's
Big.
fucking huge. Get the 6. 3-1.
Kree.
Sig one. Sig one.
Big, sick one. Get sick, get
Wall,
sick. That's it, that's it.
Kill Sig, we win.
Walled.
This is winnable.
Big.
Kill the Sig.
Pick him up.
Cart.
I'll get card.
Nice pick on Lucio.
Yeah,
Moving the payload. Backup requested. Supercharger is ready to be deployed.
just speed out if you guys feel threatened.
Nice taking space.
What are we doing?
My ultimate is ready.
Somebody's still there, right side.
Force to walk along the backside.
Okay,
Hey, back up. We're split.
Look him out.
Yep.
Back up.
Alright, we got beat. We got beat in Bongo, and we're gonna window soon. What do they have? They used
System
did they use
restart
Blizzard?
initialized.
They didn't use their Bongo, did they?
Oh, my game is crashed. Pause.
Alright, what else do they have?
Pause.
What else? We have
Sorry,
we paused.
Paused.
Okay.
Alright, what else do
Okay.
you
So, going in real quick. So when you're going into this one, like with this composition that you're playing, your Lucio's going to be pushing cart because you have IMO, so you can anchor out on corners long enough for you to kite back or like restabilize. And then you have Maywall to like either justify your aggression, so you split them and like brawl into them, or you use that as a way to like defensively like block out damage coming while you kite back.
Somebody.
When you're kiting back, I want to make sure that you guys are kiting back to spawn. You ended up taking a really bad kite back into that alleyway. If you're ever kiting back to spawn, you're always going to be in the best possible position for your team to regroup with you. Otherwise, you're going to put yourself between you and you're going to put the opposing team between you and your teammates, and they're just going to push onto one of you guys and clean up the rest. So let's make sure that we're even though it might seem like at the time oh, this is a good kite back, just go back towards your spawn, best possible way to get your team to get back with you. We all here ready?
Yep. We're good.
Okay.
Roger that.
What ultimates do they have?
Serve the barrier.
Did they flux?
Yes, they flexed.
Nope. Wait, they flux?
They used flex, yes.
I don't know.
Blizzard? I don't think they Blizzard yet.
They don't have high noon, so they have everything else.
They used High Noon.
Their tank just lit.
They walled us.
Mongo
Pulling
one.
Ursa. Get Ursa.
Blizzard, what else?
Like Newton.
We gotta make sure
Carol.
Supercharger is ready to be deployed.
Lucio top.
My supercharger is ready to be deployed.
Boing.
Ursa split.
Watch out for nice.
I won't do.
Big.
Left side. Kree in here as well. Kree. Hello. I'm one. Get Kree.
Nice job, guys.
Left side. Me.
Assistance requested.
Nice, good job.
Alright,
Lucian guard, everyone else push up.
How you doing, Ava? Alright, what else do they have? They use Flux, right? They use Flux,
We get that I use it for
they use Beat.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. And they use
Yeah,
Bomb.
they high noon.
They High Noon too. So they're gonna have Coalescence.
Back up.
They have wall.
Oh, okay.
I don't have goal here.
Cover stick. That's
Big
big.
goal.
That's big.
Big.
Six. Have it be. One. Kill six.
Nice.
They give it up.
Pulling.
Nice. Main behind. Main no cryo. Main one. Kree. Walk. Nice. We can get the six.
Lucio.
Oh shit. I bad finger. My bad.
Nice.
That's bad finger.
We're good.
Next time.
Second fat finger of the map. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Lucio must have died. Alright, the shield's down. After the shield, I'm windowing.
Wait, that's actually huge. That's actually huge. Go in here. Lucio, 668. Second one.
Second.
Right.
I got our man, I got our man.
Go. Get me. No cryo. Lucio left side. Lucio left
Going.
side. Get. Moro. We can hold a spawn. Get great. Watch on in.
Push hard.
Ursa, break bongo. Nice.
Nice.
Nice job. Good job. Yeah, my bad. I fat fingered.
But you guys starting to see a little bit how strong like this comp really is for your brawl.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll put you on. What is your cost?
How does brawl?
How does brawl?
Yeah.
Select your
Like a
hero.
smart brawl.
It's so like. Hold on 1 second. Make sure I'm putting you on the proper Lijiang. Yeah. Okay. So the reason that like this brawls so well is because you're running a lot of self-sustained heroes, right? Generally, the only person that's staying back is kind of your Kree because he has the highest effective range out of anybody. So everyone else just kind of you amp in, you pretty much IMO and brawl it out. You can flux and get a high HP lead, and you build up window, and then you can get back a bit as BAP. You can window for sustain or like selfish reasons, or like even for your Kree. And like if that gives a better idea of like why this comp succeeds so well in brawl. Like it is because like I don't want to like go and like elaborate too far into it and like waste your time on like what we could be talking about here. So we're gonna run you on the same thing. So you're gonna be on the Fat Lucio like pre-made brawl. With this, you're gonna be make sure that you're what do you call it?
Let's show them what we can do.
Should we use Symmetra for this map?
If you guys want, you guys can try it with the Symmetra. Roll out, yeah, sure. Roll out with Symmetra May. Teleport into the window on point, and then if you lose that, if you don't have wall, then switch over to the Kree for the retake.
Yeah.
Three.
Say,
One. Round one.
That's ammo.
Capture objective.
man.
My teleporter is online.
I recommend moving behind my barrier.
I did it too.
I messed up my everything.
They forced try on me.
Notify engaging fortification.
Ursa.
Point.
Sick version.
Oh, I got. Oh, she saved me.
Let's go.
We got one.
Alright, we're dead.
Alright.
The objective is now active.
Alright, they have beat.
I think we just lost
Now
our
we're going to the Kree.
Yeah. Mostly unlucky.
System restart
Like,
initialized.
supposed to be.
Don't break Tully.
You can see a turret.
Oh, they moved it. Oh, they broke it already. I'm one. Push him. Here, back. We're just like this one out.
You guys wall,
Breaking wall.
Oh, I got pulled.
Alright, stay out.
Get back. We're gonna have Blizzard next fight.
Yeah. It must like what happened too.
Just got it. We saved immortality for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have.
They could sigil. Alright, what else do we have? We don't have anything else. Big wall.
We just wait for Blizzard. I'm kind of off.
I'm gonna stay far away so I don't get frozen.
We can get out immortality.
They use field.
I'm gonna window shield.
I'm on. Go in. That's huge. That's fucking actually massive. Go in. Get
Sim. Nice. Ursa. Get bongo. Nice.
We shoot outside.
Damn.
My ultimate is charged.
Nice, good job. I'm 50 on another Blizzard. Me and 40 on another Flux.
Half on window.
For
He's
your
looking
own
out top.
safety, get behind the barrier.
Yeah, they're going top. We can play like right here. Try and pull them out if you can.
Use
They're going
window
round.
already. Alright, back up and pull back.
I fucked them up. Hopper stick.
I am 1 point.
I should have fired.
Oh, you're outside now. Alright.
Down here.
That's a fat GR.
Just stuck me through fucking
I'm like,
grass, but doesn't make sense.
Okay, so what do we fail to do there?
I don't know.
We lost.
I don't know what we're
So
doing.
after winning that fight, you guys failed to take that default stuff in that doorway. So what that ended up in turn doing is you ended up failing to get the scout and meeting that rotation when they took that bottom left side. Then you could have taken the rotation there and brawled out and had a distinct advantage to where you could have kited back the point, dragging out the percentage you gained, and hopefully forcing out CDs to find that pushback point
So
you
you
would
think
have normally.
we should have held some by the choke point? By the doorway?
Like push all the way into like that first choke point in that door.
Oh yeah. Okay. Alright. Where are we going? Let's go too dark.
Going white.
Yeah, sorry, white, yeah. Not dark, Jesus. Wrong
Alright,
areas.
going left
First
side.
side.
You're gonna meet us here. You're in a wall.
Legion.
You're fully here. You're in a wall.
They're not here. I'm in. We get point.
Yeah,
If
just keep
they're
going.
plant point,
That's
point.
fortunate. Where's Monkey? Monkey frozen.
They have tracer.
Monkey.
Monkey one. Watch behind. Tracer one.
12 roll.
Hammond. Nice pull. Try not to beat the fire too hard.
Pulling. I got fire.
Hammond.
I'm going down here.
Hammond frozen.
She's low.
They need some ults there. Probably have fire ult.
That should be set.
I'm low.
I still have a job to do.
Nice pick on Tracer.
Get out.
I'm stuck here.
I can't help you.
This one. Behind you.
Seems like them using barrage is going to be a quick team point bump to us.
No, they're gonna rush.
I know, but when they get it.
They're gonna be diving using LP and ball and tracer most of the time.
Accelerate.
Point. Pulling it.
Hammond.
What?
Big bubble.
Ferris on right side outside.
Don't move.
Ignore the Farah.
Help me with tracer in the back.
Pulling.
Down two.
Keep me up.
Tracer's fat.
Just get out.
We're gonna lose the next fight.
We have Flux, we have Coalescence, and we have
I still have a job to do.
we're gonna have Nails.
Mercy
Mercy
one.
one.
What is me? Fuck, dude.
Alright, I'm back.
Okay, let's go left side white room again.
Saving Rocker thing again.
Alright. We're gonna blizzard here too. They don't have any defensive ults, so we can just flex for free here. Watch the barrage. Hey, go point.
Double. Monkey.
Focus on him behind.
Far.
Yeah, touch. Damn. It's unfortunate.
Okay, so on COD, this is a really hard comp to be applying pressure to. Generally hypermobility, and you need to be really focused on the rotation. So I'm not gonna like go too much into this. When you're taking that rotation, try to get your first restabilization. Play it slow inside white. Once you're all there, take a decisive push together, and like go. Like you all need to step on the point. That way you can limit the angles of which one they can spam from, and you just try to brawl onto whoever you can lock in place. Here we're gonna put you on May Doom, but you're gonna be on the Lucio Moira.
I can let in.
So just make sure that when you're engaging, you're immediately going for a pull punch here because you're playing off one-shot potential, so you want to get the immediate one-man advantage when you can.
Okay. We're playing control room here?
Round 3.
You're going for white, yes.
Capture the objective.
My will made real.
Oh, I fucking did that early. Going bottom.
Pull it.
Breaking shield.
They pull
Yeah, use the
it.
retaliate.
They use field, they use field. You can pull again, you can pull again. I can
Point,
follow
point,
up.
3, 2, 1, pull. Six.
Chuck one. Stick half.
Walling, point.
May one.
Sig low.
We're up.
Ursa. Point.
Use shield. Ursa.
Break land.
Stick.
May one.
Bap. You can push up here.
Nice one.
Okay, and then you could just wall like right here, like as soon as they start pushing in. And then I'll get a punch off.
Alright, put infinite healing ward.
Oh, I can combo with flex. Ursa.
Get Ursa.
Gun.
Pulling with you.
Keep it.
Go point.
Keep it.
May.
May
Nice.
down.
Okay. We can
Point to the board.
That's bigger. Go.
Big.
Restore.
Ursa.
Ursa one. Okay, we can hold close again.
Nice.
My bad. I already said a little bit.
Point.
Careful. They may.
Full careful. I've been healing orb on satellite.
Alright, I have bongo for this fight.
Fuck, I died. I forced field and stop one is locked. Stop one.
Oh boy.
You get on it.
It's unfortunate. I can go around for a pick on the junk and then ult out.
Did these bongo?
I still have a job to do.
I don't know if they bothered. What else do they have?
No, they used
They use flex.
Oh yeah, blizzard, yeah.
They use blizzard, yeah.
You guys are, okay, yeah, you guys.
Point.
That's big.
Get
What?
brick bungo, bungo one. Keep it. Sig.
Sig one. Get.
Sig one.
May no wall or cryo. 1 HP.
Pulling.
Still low.
Pulling, you guys in the back. Jump one.
Bap.
Bap.
Securing the objective.
Lucio.
Backup request.
Nice job, team. Come back.
Okay, I want you to be faster on this engagement. As soon as they step through, I want you all to slam W. As soon as your main tank says go, you go. Doom, call for punches if you want to. I mean, call for pulls if you want to punch.
Get into position. Allow me.
Try when you pull this area. Pull now.
Jump. Pull. W. Ursa. May.
Go point. Nice.
Nice job, team. Let's go.
Okay, so you saw how fast that fight went as soon as you slammed W?
Get behind the
This is gonna sound really dumb. So the difference between you'll see a lot of top T3 teams and contenders teams is speed. If you can control and move in faster than the enemy team and understand like, hey, when this happens, we push here. Like say like in your win condition, like, okay, when they step through, we're gonna look for a wall and go for a punch. Okay, so we know that. If we slam him with our Doom 1, he has a higher possibility of surviving because we have people body blocking, we have a higher set of sustain moving in with him, and we get a good collapse, and they have to reactively expend a lot of CDs. They can't control the tempo on that.
Pause.
So, if, like, that's, like, one of the biggest things I, like, really want you guys to work on is, like, communicating. Like, I really want you to vocalize your movements, Communix, right? Communix?
Yeah, Communix.
Yeah, Communix. So, I really want you to vocalize, be like, hey, I want to hold this corner. Can we go up to this corner? Hey, I want to push in. Can we go? Can we go? And if people are saying yes, then we all slam W and we just push in. And then just be like, push, 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 in. And then just slam in and then start calling a target. Like, you guys know your priorities, so you just need to move faster. So, like, if you know on Mei, like, okay, I'm getting out, like, freeze. Okay, I'm going to grasp my Orisa in so I cover her and I don't have to waste my shield out. And then as soon as I see their Sigma fluck or grasp, I'm going to rock him so that he doesn't have it. Well, they just lost a shit ton of CDs, and then you fortify, use your shields. You have an inherently better brawl stance moving in, so you know your job. Just move in faster. Like, it's very Pepega to say, right? Just move faster, Pepega, right? But in reality, that's what it is. If you move faster on a team that understands just as much as you what need to be doing, you will 100% be out playing that team every single time. But you still need to at least, like, I want you to work on this as well, where, okay, you're alt tracking. What are they going to do? If you know they have Mei ult, like, okay, hey, they're going to look to Mei ult here. Okay, well, are you going to kite the Mei ult, or are you going to push into them? If you're going to push into them, if they kite, are you going to trans? Are you going to beat the Mei ult? How are you going to counteract that? If you're outplaying their win condition, you will always run in with the upper hand, and then you won't be over alting. So you won't be destroying your alt eco, because you want to think of it as a game of Monopoly, right? What is the goal of Monopoly?
To win.
To win. To get money, that's a really good one, but what do you do with money?
Fuck over everyone else. To buy properties.
You monopolize. You buy shit. You buy property. Look, as your time bank, time bank, right? Bank money, it goes down. You're investing in a dying business. So you want to get percentage or ticks or new checkpoints to invest into new properties to gain a large expenditure of money that you can then keep investing. And once you get these new properties, you can pull out of that dying business. Think of that. Your alt economy is a way of how you spend to buy that property. How many ultimates do you generally want to try to use per fight?
6.
2 to 3. 3 being the most, because that's half your eco. Now, using that, you can use that ideology to then say, like, okay, we are going into this fight, like, we could finish with Mei ult. Okay, so we're going to push up, we're going to Bongo, because Bongo is a flourishing ultimate, so we could build up for Mei ult. Then we're going to look to Mei ult. So we're saying, hey, we're going to push in Bongo, and then we're going to look to Mei ult late fight. Okay, that's really fucking awesome, because now we build our Mei ult, we use Mei ult, and because we've adhered to that, we won the fight, and we've only used 2 ultimates. Does that make sense? Does anybody need me to go back on that? Sorry if I sound like an asshole at all. I know, like, I know some of the way, like, I'm just trying to give analogies, and, like, I'm just being stern like how I am with the players I normally work with, so I probably sound a little condescending, and I'm not trying to.
I learn better like this. That way, like, I understand like what.
Sound like a professor.
Yeah, I've been doing this since season 4. I've been playing the game since beta, so I like to think that I am explaining things properly that people will get it. Going into your communication a little bit, I want you to think of it like a car. This is going to be the other analogy I'm going to use, right? Your main tank, like, you're the driver. So you want to get from point A to point B. You control the tempo, and that's why I say vocalize your movements, because you best understand how you want to accomplish the objective you're trying to accomplish. Be like, okay, we want to stuff here and kite back. I want to hold this corner and then kite back to the next corner once my shield goes. Oh, well, everyone has a really good encompassing call of how to play this fight now. That being said, supports, I want you to communicate to the team like care. Care's a really good call. This means, like, hey, we're low or you're low. So you'd be like, care, Orisa, care. Okay, so that means directly to the Orisa that you're low. You need to back up. We're trying to restabilize. Care can be an encompassing call, like, hey, we're all low, care. Then everyone plays passive. It's to help restabilize. Because think of you guys as like the rear view mirrors. You see the overarching end of the fight. So, like, communics, you're not going to change lanes without looking in your mirrors on the highway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like incredibly fucking dangerous. So, like, use that information, supports, relay that information, be his mirrors, help him find out what's behind him, because he's not going to look behind him. He shouldn't have to. Like, the off tank is kind of like the navigator. So, like, hey, I have no CDs on Sigma. Like, hey, no CDs, no shield, or my shield's low. That helps the main tank know, like, oh, can we really push up on this? Do we have to play it slow, wait for CDs to come back? And, you know, then the Sigma can be like, hey, can we play it slow? Like, I don't have grasp, or, like, my shield's low. Can we try to recharge my shield? Like, DPS, you're kind of like the whining children in the back. like looking for the McDonald's. You really just give info calls. So like May no cryo or like May 1, hey, Sigma no grasp on the right low. Like that's pretty much a lot of like what your calls are gonna be.
I'm just imagining the DPS as like the turrets in like a Mad Max kind of car.
Yeah, basically. So with that, you know, like I want you to at least try to implement that, like in this like map here.
Are we running McCree again?
Let's see, you're on the defense. Sure, let's put you on the McCree, Lucio back. Are you guys feeling comfortable so far with what you're playing? Kip here?
Yeah.
I'm getting more comfortable with it every map, so.
Attackers incoming in 30 seconds.
Fuck you.
Kinda sucks that we're
Wait, who's the ringer?
What's up?
Who's the ringer?
Me.
You're probably getting a lot of benefit from this at least then, so. Like.
You are advised to
Are you
move
gonna need
behind my barrier.
I'm good. I get to play Froggy Boy. I never do that, so it's fun.
Yeah, you get to, so. Make sure when you're locking in stagnation that we're playing on heals. Like, only use speed to be, repositioning your team. You don't even need speed.
They have a Diva Winston.
Dive.
Diva Winston Echo.
I go one.
Monkey dive point. They have a Lucio.
Diva frozen.
Watch out, May, you're alone. You're alone. Help her. Going.
Just behind.
Just a half.
Diva low.
Hey, Monkey one on top. Monkey, no bubble.
Diva.
Moving behind my barrier.
Right down low.
Diva low.
Yeah, I'm about to get down.
Going.
Nice pull. There's a behind. Nice.
Monkey on scared.
Push it.
Point.
Bulky.
Lucio. Nice.
Good job. Get back a little now. Oh, don't.
Nice shot. Where's she?
Back. We're gonna have Blizzard next fight. Back up.
Nothing's gonna stop.
Mega roof.
Where's the
I
Diva?
don't know.
Where's the Zig?
You are advised
Never
to
May.
move behind
It's like our comp kind of counter surge.
I'm gonna Blizzard next fight.
Alright, they swap their comp.
Adjusting angle.
They're on double shield.
Oh.
Mace down.
Yeah, I would've.
Going. Sigma no grasp.
I can mine.
That's my bad.
Alright. What are we gonna do this fight?
Well,
More importantly, what are they going to do and how are you gonna play around it?
They're gonna dupe Sigma and
Check
Rush.
this out.
They just have May. They just swapped the May. I don't think they have Freeze yet.
They might try.
They've probably got Echo, don't they? Because they had Echo from the start.
yeah, they've had
Oh, they've had it.
They're gonna have.
They're gonna have Echo. Then they're gonna probably have Lucio too, maybe.
We can flex them if they beat them all.
Can Bongo here?
Where's the half?
Good shield. Help me out.
Stick Rosen. What is one? Stick one.
Going. Big pull. Focus Ursa.
Big. Stick Rosen against it. Can stick it back.
Who's in the back line? Push.
May, come
May use ice block. Sigma 1, May. Huge.
Nice.
They didn't even get a tick. Good job.
We can.
That's huge.
What's up? No.
You're really quiet.
No, hit me up, because I've been calling, like, everything you guys have been saying, I've been saying.
Can't hear you.
I'm like, hello?
I can't really turn you up in the middle of the fight.
Yeah, alright. Come back. What do they have? They use Flux?
They did not.
Alright, they're probably gonna have Flux then. They're gonna have. Wait, they use Echo? Echo's down, huge! Push! W! They know ice block! Big!
Oh damn!
Huge!
Cowboy.
team kill.
Like that?
Haha, Cowboy go first.
Alright.
Please move behind the barrier.
Alright, what else do they have? They swap to back. They have a back down.
I think of it still flex wizard.
They swap to back.
They're also on now McCoon.
They've had bad something.
No, they just swapped. They just swapped.
No,
into
yeah,
the-
they had more. They had more. Don't.
Okay, what do they have? What do they have?
Flux.
Bongo.
What are these flux?
Nah, they blizzard already. Never mind. They have not flexed.
Arrested one, arrested one. W. Name.
Dotty point. Windowing. That was a pretty better window.
Kill Sig. Sig right side. Kill Sig. I'm 75 on blizzard.
I'm 80 on Bongo.
I got bad.
Nice shot kit.
May one. Sig have. I blizzard. Go boy.
Touching.
Stop for me. I blizzard. I'm off.
I'm 94 on. Oh, nice.
Cease your resistance.
Okay. Getting better at being aggressive on these, but when I want one of you to be like your shot caller, you're like first turn up or unturnal while you can right now. But I want one person developing a plan, planning around what they're going to do, and then building that plan.
Prepare to attack.
Anybody want to do that? I recommend either being your main tank or off tanking your main
I'll
tank.
do it.
Okay, so that means whatever he calls in the plan, you need to all adhere to that. Do not try your best to not deviate from that plan. Have you seen an area? What?
Who's calling?
I'm calling
Communist.
TJ coming.
So, with that being said, I want you to like be a little bit more like what do you call it? Like cognizant to like what they're gonna be like playing. If you know they're gonna be like looking for mail, a lot of the ults of what they're running are very stagnant ults. You can easily either kite them or push forward on them. Mail generally is a pretty strong one to kite rather than like window. If you're already brawling on top of them, then you just push past the window, you neutralize it. So I want you to think about that. Like, okay, hey, they're gonna mail it here. We're gonna kite back on the mail, so we're gonna like step back. We're gonna try to neutralize as much as possible, and we're gonna look and push back maybe in with window or like bongo, depending on which one you want to use.
Look, if they have blizzard, we would save like amp for it, and then we would back up with that.
Yeah, yes. And because you made a really high guidance call saying, hey, we're gonna kite it back, we save amp and we amp speed back on that mail.
3, 2,
Well, my nade works when I swap.
attack commencing. Capture objective A.
Fighting.
Ursa half.
Big wall.
Big rush.
Retardie up.
Minnow. You're up.
I can't.
You're one.
I got
Big wall.
That's the one.
Keep going. I'm pulling.
Back up. We're down to. Back up. That's just the one.
Try to play for IMO advantage more.
Ursa one. That's
Big, nice pick.
We're
Alright,
going
we're gonna go on
3-1.
fast.
3-1.
Kip, try to play for IMO advantage. So if you know you don't need IMO at that moment, try to drag it out, see it and squeeze the value. Use
We're
it
gonna
later.
push
if you
in
can.
in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, push. They're on the high ground, I think. Where are they?
Behind my barrier.
Behind my red
Oh
side.
Jesus.
Let me get first.
High ground.
6.
Name.
Or wall.
Break lamp.
6.
Make first. McCree behind. Care.
Great. I got 3. I got May as well. Both the DBS are down. I killed both the DBS. Go
If you know you're freezing out Sig, generally try to be free. Try to collapse into you're freezing out. It's an easier target to collapse into.
My ultimate is charging.
Okay, let's try and get them get to point before their DPS come. Alright. Our May's gonna be a little bit behind us, folks.
Enemies in our orbit.
They don't pull down the shield.
Kill her, sir. We should behind.
Ursa no fortify.
We should one.
Pulling. Big.
Me.
Break lamp.
6.
Big. 6.
Watch on it.
Watch, dude.
We get that.
Bap. Lucille.
Shoot.
DPS, get the DPS. May. All of them are one. Ursa. McCree.
Great.
Fuck, I couldn't finish it.
Ah, it's really close. Alright, I've got my bongo.
I must rejoin my team.
The Orisa just now respawns. We can go in down while
Supercharger
they're
is
down there.
ready to be deployed.
Wait for half a team.
I can get beat out. There's nothing.
Let's wait for them to flex.
Let's go for,
Here, we
for
can
Orisa.
kill this Orisa while she's coming back. Cause she's like,
Yeah, can rotate and kill Orisa. Rotate and kill Orisa.
Come on, Infamous.
I need help on the right. I need help on the right.
Break wall, break wall, break wall.
Oh, my mentality got frozen.
60 seconds.
Take it out.
Establishing defense point.
I think you're dead. Yeah, just get out. Finish quick.
You should have just gone right side. My bad, shitty wall.
I'm gonna get out.
Okay. Alright,
They
reset.
may like push up in our response. We gotta wait for this for three.
The ultimate is ready.
Alright, let's go. Let's go. Last fight. Let's fight. We got this. Come on. Let's fight. We got this.
Engage hard.
What are we gonna do?
Wait, we're slow.
Let's noon and then I'll pull.
Here.
We're going right or left.
Push into them. Push straight into them. No fear. No fear. No fear. No fear. Pulling. Huge. This is down. No fear. Push it. Got it out. No fear.
Watch any.
Fear. Actually, use fear. Yes, fear is good. Hey, Orisa 1. Orisa 6. Green 1. Listen, nice job, team.
Nice. Good call on.
Got about 3 minutes.
Objective A captured. Commence attack on objective B.
Push on. They're not set up yet. We can get there for 3.
Big pull.
There's such a split.
Kite it.
Mentality out.
We can engage harder on them.
Help her, May.
I almost have Blizzard.
I'm down here. Back up. Get out.
We're gonna have Blizzard in this fight.
Todoroki, try to calm down like your aggressiveness because you're moving in without your team and it's forcing out your cryo just by being up there and you don't want that.
I must rejoin my team.
I can get beat out. You wanna
What do they have?
You wanna flex?
Wait for your bad. Can you get fixed?
What do they have? Do they use beat? What do they have?
These Mongo, I think they're.
Yeah, they use Bongo.
They use Bongo.
I'm gonna push the next fight. If they beat, then I'll
I will get out beat. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, you're gonna get out of beat. Alright. Careful. Oh.
That's nuts.
Can they use 74 ults?
I was
Sigma
Push
low.
up into them. Pull them. Keep me up. Uh-oh. Alright.
what I was going to say is that we can bait out beat with Flux and then I'll Blizzard after.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I must rejoin
Alright,
my team.
that would have worked.
Here, how about let's take this adjustment. Can't
I
let's
know.
move you over to Moira.
Okay.
Sorry.
Get in here.
I think there's beat.
We're all here.
Used it.
May 1 or 3-1 in the back.
Pulling?
They go.
They ate my pull. Keep her sig up.
Wait out. Sig 1.
Get Sigma.
They have no resources. No heal.
Pulling.
Go in. Get her.
Big. Orisa.
Watch her.
Nice job, team.
Okay, you're just making basic mistakes. You're forgetting some of the things that we've gone over prior.
Like, what are we doing?
Mingo and like Todoroki, just turn it like come back like how you guys are speeding up on some of the areas where you're just like you're moving either ahead of your team or you're starting a rotation. It's either catching you out or it's just in inhibiting like the team because like Kree helps a lot with like tempo control and like refuting aggression, and same thing with Mei, right? And if you're ahead on that and like you either lose CDs because of it, like that inherently like puts you at a disadvantage, especially like going into those fights. Let's see. We'll put you over to we'll put you on Blizzard World, I guess. Okay, so for the defense, you guys will be put on Super Sam. So you'll be playing like the Baps, then Hanzo Meh.
Prepare your defenses. Select your hero.
Whoops.
Does Hanzo really do more spam than McCree? I feel like
Say it again?
does Hanzo really do more spam than McCree?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello. You're a
Can you
lot.
hear
You sound a lot better now.
Okay.
I don't think my ult calling's been really spectacular lately.
I've been tracking ults. I've been calling what they're gonna do. I've been doing so much, but you guys couldn't hear me, so I've just been like, okay.
Yeah, I felt lacking there.
I was like, that first fight on Volscan, I was like, oh, they're just gonna dupe and push, and that's exactly what they did. But nobody heard me, so I like.
It happened.
Sorry, I don't know.
No, you're fine. I'm not like mad or anything. I've just turned up my volume. I figured it out.
Activating the barrier.
Tikafa Zenyatta.
Nice shield.
I wish
Yo,
to learn about the Ibis.
what can they do?
Perfect.
against
I would be happy to teach
We have a bowl.
you. It is rare that I meet one with such an unformed mind.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? I'll make soup.
I'm gonna.
They can't stop us. We're making stir fry.
They can only see my head right here. That's
True.
Defend objective.
See an echo?
Behind my
Walk. I got Chunzo.
alright. Time to wait
Echo
for
left side,
their
echo left side.
First half.
Single left.
Shields up for 3, 2.
First half again. First one of gold.
Pulling. Let's roll up. Maybe. Immortality.
Damn.
Okay, if you want to take your swap, you're gonna move it over to Lucio Moira and then a Kree instead of Hanzo. I've got you handled. But if you guys want to give this another shot, you can.
I'm still new at this.
Because you are coming up on window, so.
Yeah, I would say.
Objective
That would say.
Stop leaving behind the barrier.
I think I should have saved if it was there.
Enemies not already.
You don't have you.
I'm down. I got picked.
Okay, we
Sorry.
don't know.
Keep back. Keep backing.
We have window. We're about to get Blizzard.
Todoroki, if you have wall and window comes out,
Go
wall
down.
window.
Yeah.
You can be grasping window too if you
Alright,
really want.
Blizzard
It's free HP.
Yeah, I didn't have it right there.
Yeah, I was just rebrushing over the
Can I
top.
get a big bit of a taxi?
Alright.
Wait for Risto.
Can you Blizzard close here?
Okay, going.
Big pull. Victor mortality.
Oh, I didn't have cryo. Take one. Nice. Chase. Go. Rista one.
Wipe him.
Bap.
Nice job, team.
Did you use ult time for this, I think?
I probably shouldn't use that. It's okay.
Did they use anything? Alright.
Probably use Bongo more to build out their ult.
Yeah, they use Bongo.
Please move behind the barrier.
I'm gonna window them when they come in. They can't really.
They're coming up a window. They're not gonna bang it.
Break the shield, the window.
Big half.
Take one. Kill six.
Immortality. Get out.
No ball.
Wait. Eraser.
Rista. He's speeding to the bat.
Damn, what a
Speed.
bitch.
Back one.
Get these kids. Man, or Echo.
Back.
Six.
You're here for the brawl now. Finish it out.
He's the one.
I got him back. I don't have no cooldowns. Back.
That's good. That's good.
Raise them, raise them.
Get him back hard.
Back up.
Keep backing. We don't have ammo.
I should.
Ammo in 15.
The next fight.
Not gonna have it.
I can flex speed. If you have any
Nothing my
combos.
shield, nothing my shield.
Engage. Sigma.
Pulling.
I have ammo.
I DC'd. Sorry guys, I DC'd. Pause.
They use bongo as well.
Pause. I DC'd.
Use bongo?
Pause.
Okay.
Pause.
We're gonna-
Pause, please.
Oh.
Pause.
It's paused. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry about that.
We have the workshop code that saves our ults.
Can you get an
Those
invite back?
they don't really work.
Can you get an invite back?
I do not have you. I don't think
Mingo,
so.
add me.
I got him.
Thank you.
What the fuck? Why is my frame so bad?
Welcome to Blizzard World.
Same thing. If
Alright.
they beat
Yeah.
them.
So if you guys are pushing into them and then you lock yourself in for that brawl, continue with the brawl until you know it's good to back up.
Okay, I'm good. I'm in game.
Alright, we're gonna pull. Not pull. Sorry. Sigma to get beat out, and we're gonna. Oh, we can't fight that. We're gonna Sigma. Or, we're gonna Flux to get beat out, and then we're gonna Blizzard. There we go. I finally got it out.
Okay. Windows 74.
Echo one.
Echo, literally one. Echo, actually one. Nice. Echo's got it. Push. W.
Push.
W.
Keep
I
going.
got a big pull. Big pull.
I window.
Big pull. Break 470. Arista.
We did this fight.
You can probably do it around the corner.
Yeah, well, just back up, and whenever they push, they ult.
Take half and do it.
Wait for pull.
Big shield. Audio.
Nice.
Big. May behind, I believe.
I'm ulting.
We don't need it. We don't need it.
Nice speed.
May one.
Keep it.
Get 6 in
Push. Weapon. Push. W.
Nice.
Back.
Back.
Did they use B? I don't think they did.
No, they didn't.
Okay. Unfortunately, Blizzard isn't busted as
I
fuck
could try
anymore.
going right.
No, they're main.
I don't know.
What
shit.
the fuck? What are these
Same
mechanics?
name.
Oh, that's bad.
Retarded coming away.
Down here. Oh, it's too late.
That got fucking yeeted. What the hell?
Alright, we have Arista and window here. We have Bongo window here. We're gonna have high news. What do they have?
I got one. I couldn't get her.
It's not Blizzard, right?
Arista's low. Arista can die. Alright.
I'm gonna try and get something out of here.
If you have them still flux.
Cease your resistance.
Just fed out.
That's unfortunate.
Lucio.
Get to the right side. Get to the right side. Sing out.
Brick shield.
Brick shield.
Big pull.
I can break one.
I'm breaking Bongo. I broke Bongo. Get him mortality. Pulling. Big pull.
Echo one.
Keep me up. Arista.
May one.
Name.
Oh shit.
I'm frozen.
I am not ready to be
I think I'm stuck in
deactivated.
that Close.
Round 1.
Okay, so in that last fight, when you guys got that window and you shoved him in that corner, you guys should have immediately pushed and took the brawl there. And you gave them so much
yeah.
space to work with, and their Echo got to play that spam. Even though you killed her, they forced out a couple extra CDs, and were able to push onto that. Like, you are playing Brawl regardless of having the Kree. Like, take the Brawl.
That's my bad. I didn't call the push. I didn't.
Like, you don't have to be the only one that calls that push. Like, Avivo, if you're seeing that and be like, hey, can we push onto them? Like, it's basically ready checking, right? Be like, hey, ready, check. Okay, yeah, go. So, like, I can amp on them. Can we go? Can we go? And you hear, like, a couple of yes, and it's like, all right, amping, push onto them, and then you just collapse and you brawl it out. So, like, it's a joint effort in reality. You don't have to depend solely on your main tank calling that push.
I didn't want to push on them because I had bent Bongo. If we pushed them, then they would have taken us around the corner and I didn't want to stay.
But if you have the IMO advantage, like...
Then it doesn't matter, yeah.
Alright, so next time I window check, I just ask for it.
No, your window is gonna be more like if you know, like if it's a planned condition, that's fine. Then like saying like, yeah, hey, I can window on this corner, or like, do you want a window on this corner, like for planning? That's great, but it can still be something that's like reactive, right? So like if you know you're gonna need it for sustain, like just be like I'm windowing, and like just like be like hold this corner, I'm windowing, like then you just like spam there, sustain, and then like you push when you're sustained up.
Should I be walling flanks at all?
Say it again.
Should I be walling flanks at all? Like when?
Generally generally look for splits. You can, as yourself, solely push him out, which is like your sustained of cryo.
Big wall, big wall, big wall, big wall. Lucille low. Push Immortality.
Half of those are already.
Push that Immortality.
Six big.
Six.
I don't have any cooldowns.
Or walled off.
I dropped that early.
I'm pulling.
Break shield. Where's the half? Let's get where's half their shit.
Rotate right.
Yeah, we can engage on the right side. Come right.
Oh shit, my bad.
Shields up in 5, 4, 3,
I have window. You want to go into that?
2, 1. Yeah, Immortality. Go. Immortality. Push in. Wait, what? Did we get Immortality?
My ammo got dead immediately.
I'm back up. We can back up.
Oh, I died. Okay.
Make sure when we're brawling, we're engaging with that wall too. You gotta gain that split.
Okay.
Taxi me.
3-1.
Sig one.
Fuck,
Taxi.
my bad.
Taxi.
That's my fault.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have Bozo next fight, dude.
I have flux.
Good. Alright, go right side.
They're back at crew on left.
Pulling. Tight. Big.
Cancelled. Beat.
Ursa.
I probably didn't need more.
Nice job.
Yeah, she did.
Alright, I've got Bongo here. We've got Bongo,
That was a
Wingo,
great
and
ult, don't worry about it.
And B. What do they have? They use
Did
Window.
they blizzard?
I don't think they blizzard.
It sounded like they blizzard and then she got frozen.
I don't know.
Maybe, I'm not sure. But creep one. Fuck, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, let's push up and take space here. Never mind.
Oh, that's an out. We're out.
Nothing's gonna stop. I still have a job to do.
We're probably gonna get window pretty soon.
Meet up with Sig.
I'm just flanking, taking some damage.
I'm playing close.
I got a window here.
Made no wall.
Nice low.
Made no ice block.
Win this.
Big. Push. Immortality.
Break field. Keep calling.
I'm pulling.
Arissa low.
I'm down. Ursa. Big. Nice job, guys. Can I get a taxi? You guys
Have
have to take space.
Lucian card. I'll give
Lucio.
Champ, let's make sure we're a little bit louder with communication on IMO. Like, if you know that we're trying to brawl, be like, careful, like, care IMO in like 10, 15.
Okay.
You have like kind of like a time usage to it, so we know when we can like repush, because you're engaging off intervals, being your IMO.
Okay.
Okay, Lucio's stay on the payload. Everyone else like push up.
Fight, they can't fight by myself.
Signal.
Oh, I'm getting
Help me out here.
fucked.
Help me out here. Ah, there.
Priestess on top, middle.
I have him out.
Careful. Going. I need help. Care.
Just reset. Let them go.
Creep
3-1.
one.
That's big.
Going.
Down.
We're down.
Alright, we could just flex Blizzard again. Or pull Blizzard and just I think they have beat, so I'm just gonna use mine to get beat out, okay?
Archiving combat data.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go.
We're going
high
up.
ground or low ground?
We can go
Yeah, let's go
top.
high ground.
Oh, they're all high ground.
They're fighting high ground.
Pulling. Signal low.
Toddy.
Going around.
Big.
Reloading.
Break doors out.
One.
I got a reset. Sigma. May one. It's winnable. Drop point. Get sick. May one.
Get to the Lucio on the right.
Six.
Lucio's still on the right. Lucio's still on the right.
Man point. Probably should.
Pulling, man.
Nice, good job.
Where's Lucio?
I'm 50 on Blizzard again.
Where's Lucio?
I have him out.
Supercharger is
I
ready
think
to be deployed.
they're good. I think we're back.
Two made it out.
Back.
Kill. First half.
I have him out.
Creep behind.
Pulling.
3-1. Nice. 3-1. Get six.
Help me.
Stick
Keep
out.
me up. Keep me up.
20 off Blizzard.
Lucian around main.
What the fuck?
Just back out.
How did that Lucio go to over my wall though?
No idea. Oh, I think he like.
Bugged out. I have Blizzard. Right?
Blizzard. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Alright, we've got Blizzard, we've got Window, we've got High-Nade, and we've got Beat.
30 seconds remaining.
Alright, go high ground.
Oh yeah.
Break the shield.
Can you ball?
Point.
Man.
Nice. Lucio. I fell off.
How many is it touch?
Go point.
Take one.
I'm gonna touch. I gotta touch. I'm gonna touch.
Oh, apples on right.
Come on.
Six.
Stop
McCree.
Back behind.
Lucio. Back. Get back. Nice. GG, guys. Good round.
Oh, I didn't get locked one. Oh.
Behind the barrier.
Nice shots.
Thank you kindly.
Careful.
McCree, you're by yourself. McCree, you're by yourself.
Okay, she has a pole.
I'm not there with you guys.
First off. Back up.
First into fortify.
Wall.
Kill Sig out. Break. Ursa away from Ursa.
Ursa.
Go.
Ursa, push me.
Go.
Back.
Nice.
I didn't feel.
Alright. Have Lucio guard.
Okay, we're gonna beat and Blizzard for next fight.
We need to get Mayo. We need to get Mayo like now.
Okay.
Ursa again.
30 seconds remaining.
Push up with their May.
3-1.
That's over Toddies.
No one.
Man.
Where's the revive? Man behind. May wall.
Yeah, man.
Six.
Hey,
I'm on.
Ursa. Retaliate. Point. Back.
I'm on. Left side.
Get McCree. Push him to the doors.
Nice.
Nice round, guys.
Damn.
Howdy, cowboy.
My adrenaline is pumping.
All right.
Oh my god, bro.
So, you guys did your 2 hours, like 8 minutes. You're not gonna fit a map in 8 minutes. So
It says
pretty much.
Florida versus Boston.
I heavily recommend, like, I could even show you guys, like, from the upper perspective, like looking back at your replays and just look at how you guys are moving as a team compared to how they go with like just these core basics that we looked at today and worked on, right? Because the way that you push today, like like on a couple of these maps, your speed is so much faster. You're being decisive as a team. I like this isn't like, you know, toot your guys' fucking horn, right? But like just saying like you guys are doing the proper things. I took a clip of 4 fights and sent it to my team on Square One and said, guess the SR of the Scrim. They thought you guys were playing at GM because of one, speed, your comms, and your alt rotations going through. So you guys were doing a lot of stuff. What I'm saying is you guys were taking proper. You're doing like you were actually doing it proper. Like you're looking at a high. You look like a higher rating than what you're playing at.
Awesome. That's good news. I'm sure that if you took a clip of our first map, though, we wouldn't have looked as good.
Like here, get me the replay code for your first map. Not being Hanamura, the other one, and then send me your.
That was quite literally our first map together, though. So.
Yeah, it was.
And then send me. What are all the ones that you have actually? Send me your King's Row one.
Well, you were a spectator, right? So shouldn't you have the replays?
Spectators don't get replays. That only you only get that on OPR.
Oh, okay.
OPR.
So we played
Overwatch professional realm. That's what it's OPR.
I thought King's Row. What was the other one that you wanted?
OPS Moira.
The one before, the one after Hanamura. So I think it was probably Dorado. Yeah, Dorado. Yeah.
I'll get Dorado.
I'm exhausted.
Yeah, me too. But
Same.
this is fun.
But you guys just took a shit ton of information I gave to you and implemented it all within a very short amount of time. So like, yeah, you will feel exhausted. Other scrims, like if I'm not here, I'm not like working with you guys, you probably won't feel as exhausted. And so like,
well, we planned a scrim at 10, so.
Huh?
We planned a scrim at 10, like normally. So I don't know. You said that's when you tend to be available, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean like I do like Square One. There's days where we go for 8 hours. So like,
wow.
Yeah.
So are you going to be with us with every scrim or most scrims or?
Some scrims.
It would really depend. Like if I can show up, I'll show up. But hold on 1 second. I'm replying to a player.
Because I think your commentary is really helpful, but if you're not here, I'm probably gonna feel pretty lost.
Like I think like as you guys get more and more the hang of it, as like because with the hero bands too, like people generally get lost, but you'll start to notice a pattern. Like if it's Rhine band, you play double shield. If it's Orisa band, you play Rhine and dive. Like so it's pretty straightforward. The more and more you start to God, I have hiccups now. The more and more you start to like go through the weeks of the bands. Now let me get through this real quick 1 second. Okay. So starting off, like like you're doing 3-3 splits. People aren't moving up with the team when they should be moving. You're kiting back space really early when you could be holding and anchoring this corner. Like Communix, like you're super passive. You could be holding because like generally you want to have like you could be sitting here, right? Because you're sitting back here. You give this angle for free. Because they're going to have the defender's advantage now to where if you sit on this corner, they all have sights on your shield and they can burn out your shield relatively fast compared to your team where they won't have sights on this Orisa shield from like this angle, right? So you could be holding this corner, so you guys get a more leveraged like shield work here. So like a lot of like conceding a space, and because of that, like they get the push onto you relatively free. You guys are split. You don't really have the focus that you guys want. As you can see, it's very split with like, especially with like how you guys are looking. Like Mingo's taking a 1v1 in the back here. And just like your overall like feel as a team and your direction isn't like really there. Where like if you look at like King's Row, for example, see, I think you guys defended first, so we'll look at your guys like.
Oh god, I'm so tired.
So
like, okay,
do this
forward.
8 hours a day every day. Doing this now.
Okay, so like your rotations look a lot tighter. You guys are pushing together a little far. You're a little like slow in a couple of these. It got better going into the next map. But overall, like generally when you guys were taking these, you kept your brawls relatively tight. Okay, so you guys are pushing together because you realize you have the man advantage. You're holding on the corner, pushing in, collapsing same targets.
God, I couldn't hit that Lucio to save
This
my life.
this was really awkward for you guys coming up here. You guys ended up taking this fight, which I was kind of surprised.
It feels like this was a really hard scrim for a 3.5k team.
I'm just kind of like
on payload.
speeding through this real quick. Oh, I'm just trying to get through this real quick. 1 second.
Double flux. Woo woo.
This whole time I was on payload. Now we have someone.
Yeah, like okay, so here like wall could be so much more.
That fight before, do you think we should have taken it, or we should have played back after they started pushing in?
When they start pushing in, kite it back because you have so much distance between you and the cart. The closer you start to, because basically how point presence works is generally they need to pressure the tank line off of point to be able to step on. So like you kite it back, and the entire time as you're kiting back, your payload is gaining distance. Actually, send me the Volskaya codes real quick.
I'm
so like
uploading a picture with all the codes.
But like you'll generally be kiting that back, and while you're kiting back, your cart's moving towards you, so you're closing in and still gaining that momentum. Okay. Import, let's see. Well, Sky, what is that? 06?
I got it. Put it in chat.
DH.
I got it.
Traveling to Volskaya Industries, ready for battle.
I'm recording all this, by the way.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna VOD review it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think it's coming up here. It's pretty standard. You guys are backing up to a default position here. Flux comes out. Here's the Mayall. B comes out. Okay, so I think it was the fight before this, actually, because...
That was the fight that they lost to Lucy or something? Or was it Echo?
So Echo goes down. You all scream push. Look at this. Immediate collapse. You're going forward, being decisive. No one taking a second guess, and you wipe fight super easy. You're speeding up your high noon. They're trying to kite it back, but you're keeping your McCree insights of their team. This is pretty standard play, and this is actually really good. And you did this really fast and smooth. There's no second thoughts in it. And this is like a big factor. If you could trust each other and follow with each other and understand how to back each other in this, these plays get a hell of a lot stronger, especially at your SR. Like this, like this speed will always trump over if you can understand like your plays, and like if a team like has better mechanics, like you will still outpace them and generally still win these fights. I think this was harder scrims for you just because like you guys were working on stuff that you probably weren't generally used to. So like you guys were thinking kind of like consciously about it, and it kind of like makes you dip in performance in other areas. But hold on one second. Actually, I might have. I might have a really good. Yeah, this will be a good example. So, the exit. Screen. You can't leak that I showed this to you because I'll get in trouble. So.
Showed what? I'm recording this.
Just don't like. I just.
Well, your
Yeah.
launcher looks modern.
Yeah, I'm using the beta launcher. So.
Ooh. How do I get into that?
You just go into settings and click beta. It just takes a minute to download. So.
Oh, shit.
Wait, what launcher?
Okay, so Oh yeah, OPR is really fucking cool. Check this out. Look at how many replays you get in OPR.
All of them.
Wait, what is
Jesus
this?
Christ.
They never go away.
What is
I
this?
lost.
What is OPR?
OPR, Overwatch Professional Realm.
Uh,
So like, there's a really good example. I'm gonna show this just because this was streamed on the thing anyway, so it's not like that big of a deal. There's no comms. There's just an outside perspective, and this will be a really good example of like, so like this is square one in the white with the Track Dimes camera, and we're going against Boston Uprising in our contenders match. There's a really good example of showing like being decisive and rotating as a team and how that just one is super effective. So we understood that we knew that we weren't going to get the push out here, and we weren't sure if we had a better, stronger brawl in the mirror because we've never played them in this setting. So we take a passive positioning. We're playing slow for that like clear decisive advantage, and you'll see here like how this plays out. So pull comes through, we get a rock going in, and we take an instant pick, and now everyone says push, and you can see how everyone starts pushing. And it's the same way that you guys kind of did this on Volsky, right? Like you guys don't stop. You're moving in, you're playing the brawl. IMO comes out, and we're locking our stagnation here. And then once it goes down, we keep pushing forward. Their IMO comes out, we clean up fight. It's relatively fast.
isn't the short term for immortality lamp?
A lot of people call like in this, at least that I work with, like they call it IMO.
Okay.
Everyone will be like, no, IMO and 10, IMO and 10. Or some people say lamp. Like that's more of a rank term that you hear, but because like when people are talking coaching and stuff, like generally you hear like, oh, they don't have IMO. It's just it just sounds better and it flows better when you're talking about it.
All right.
That just kind of goes down the preference in reality. Same concepts here happens. You'll see how they take the brawl here to their advantage, and they use IMO to lock it. So they take the pull. The brawl comes in. They're kiting out the window, and they're pushing on to Sigkree. Now they're pushing again, and they're moving forward. You'll see this going through pretty much on every map. Like you ever watch for like when it comes to like, okay, this was actually really smart. I don't see a situation where you guys will ever get into this scenario, but this is something really smart to think about. So starting off into this, we had a kind of a failure to meet the rotation here, where we take Bongo and we fuck up, and we don't recognize their next rotation and decide to meet it. They pick off Angelic, coming right here, and we recognize here that if Angelic's to respawn, we're already split and they have point presence, so we're not going to move forward and take the brawl into them. So what we decide to do is actually take a wrap here around. And put ourselves back into a position that if Angelic gets back to the fight, he's in the safest route possible to move back in. And we just hold the brawl here. And because they failed to meet the rotation, we had geometric advantage. We use wall here to deny IMO, and we take our push here. We are still playing this slow because we're still down Angelic. Once Angelic gets here, we take a decisive push out.
Who are you in this?
Huh?
Who are you in this?
I wasn't playing. I coach this team.
Okay.
Damn, I'm 37. Is that actually him?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the boss. This is Uprising Acad versus Square One. I coach Square One. I'm a player development coach.
Damn.
Yeah, we lucked out. I just wanted a main support. We lucked out.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's pretty not like it's a pretty good like like when I come in and ring, a lot of teams benefit usually from me coming in because I end up just like giving them like my input and stuff, and they usually generally pull a lot of value. If they don't ring, I ask to just come in and spectate, and I help out like what I did today. So like with the ideals that I brought you today, I highly recommend like watching contenders, right? Because it's way more comparable to you guys than to watch Owl. Owl plays at such a fast speed, and there's so many more like intricacies and different like dynamics that happen that aren't really comparable to like what you guys will play. So, and like not only that, if you have questions, you could totally like sometimes depending on the player, you can message them and ask them a question, and they won't hesitate to like respond. Like they'll answer if they're willing. They like in the end, like you're all gamers and wanting to be the best, right? So they'll be like, oh yeah, no, like I think they'll say like I think probably here because of maybe this. So like watch contenders and like see like, oh hey, like when we play this comp, like oh I see he does this, and like maybe ask yourself why. Like okay, why is he doing this? Okay, well he's forcing out cryo. Okay, so why cryo? Well, that's how the Mei self-sustains, right? Okay, so that Mei can't play as passive. So maybe I should work on forcing out Mei cryo and kind of like taking those ideals that you see and transferring them over to your own play, and you can actually learn to coach yourself without actually needing a coach.
Do you guys want to do a contenders watching session tomorrow, or whenever? When's contenders going next? I don't know about their schedule.
I think
if you're in the competitive Overwatch Discord, you can get pinged whenever contenders matches are going on.
Okay, but
Yeah,
what's the next one here?
Like today, there was in EU, for example, there was British Hurricane versus Disaster and Sheer Cold versus Young and Beautiful. And then today, actually, like 5 hours ago, it started Impact versus Second Win and Triumph versus Team Doge for semis.
Yeah, I guess stream to YouTube, so you could just tune it whenever.
Yeah.
Probably not because we're going to be scrimming.
Contenders finals are on May 10th.
Yeah, we'll be scrimming that day, so we won't be watching it because we have 8 hours of scrims that day. And then we have an hour break with the review, so.
Alright, well, you guys want to, like, I know we don't have game master, but do you guys want to, like, keep scrimming this week, or?
Yeah, I'm down. Just let me know what time.
Alright.
Like, if you guys, like, I always recommend, like, scrimming. Like, even if you don't, like, have games, like maybe you're not signed up for a tournament, like, scrimming, you can just learn by just scrimming.
We're in
and
GT
you can
next.
also, yeah, I would say, like, if you play against better teams, like, if you're losing in scrims, like, it doesn't matter what your performance is in scrims. It matters how you perform, like, in the match, right? Like, if you're going against a team that you struggle against, like, going back in the replays and being like, oh, hey, like, man, I was struggling against Mei. Like, what does this Mei do? And, like, you can go back and, like, watch player perspectives. It's almost like cheating in a way because you can learn so much just by watching those. If you guys have any questions about anything that I said today that you want me to elaborate on, you can. Feel free to ask. So.
One question I have is, say if we absolutely need to make swaps, is there any situation where we absolutely need to make swaps, or did we just kind of roll double shield with Mei Kui, or even minorly swap to like a Hanzo or something? Because throughout the scrims, it seemed like we played mostly the same team comp almost all the time.
Because it's kind of like just right now, it's inherently the strongest composition that's out there, like with the current bans. One of the reasons, like, are you kind of asking like more like why was I sticking on like McCree the entire time, or?
I'm just wondering if there's a situation where we should swap, or should we just stick it out and just keep doing the same thing?
Generally maps that have like long engagement ranges, if a team's playing double shield spam being Hanzo Mei and you can't close the distance on the brawl, usually taking a mirror will be something in order. But if you're playing in like usually like level flat ground maps, you'll find yourself more often on the brawl. At least for the current set of bans. I hope that like answered your question.
So then, would that just be a playstyle change, or would that actually be any hero swaps?
Like in what sense would it be, like? Are you asking?
So
like if you're swapping like the spam?
So like first you said you were playing spam, right? So we're doing double shield, Maycree or something, and then we had like a Zen Bap, and then say okay, we decided to switch over to Brawl. Do we actually swap any heroes, or do we just change the playstyle and we just be like more aggressive or something?
Okay, so that really depends on like recognizing, okay, is it a compositional error or an execution error? So let's say if you're playing like the BAP Zen, right? So I guess a really good example is like Volskaya, right? You guys were rolling out on the attack into second point. You were playing BAP Lucio. One of the biggest things that you're struggling in was an execution error and slightly kind of a compositional error where you were intaking a lot of damage going into it. So one of the executions you could have fixed was taking the top right, like going on the elevator and then dropping up there, because then you're not running down head on in the damage and you're kind of covered for a portion of your rotation because you're weakest in your rotation. And it was forcing out your lamp really early because you're running down like main. That's something you can recognize, like, oh hey, this is like an execution error and slightly compositional, and like take and say like, hey, let's take the Moira so we have a higher onset healing, but we still play it in the Brawl style. When it comes to like defensive stuff, like maybe you're playing let's say, just to give a really good example of a map, maybe let's say you're playing on like Hanamura. Like generally like Hanzo Mei spam's really strong on Hanamura defense for first because there's 2 small chokes, and then you're like, okay, so we play the slow and we play our effective range. But if you're playing against maybe like Dive, then you recognize like, hey, like they close the distance relatively fast. If we take the Brawl, we can lock them down and take that play style over, and then you'd go for like the Lucio Bat Brawl with like a Kree, if that. I feel like I explained that weird, but that hopefully that answered in a lot better terms.
Okay.
But we're mainly gonna be playing like Mei Hanzo Maycree, right?
Like, yeah, generally you'll probably find yourself mainly playing the Mei Hanzo Mei Crew. When the changes come, you'll probably be playing something different. Like a lot of teams were playing the Ashe Mei beforehand because just Ashe, like Dynamite's a broken fucking ability. So like in a certain case, like mainly like your metas are going to be dictated kind of like who's banned on like tank line. Like I said, if Reinhardt's banned, you're playing double shield. If Orisa's banned, you play Dive or you play Ryan. Like if Dive's banned, then you just play Ryan because like the ability to amp in and close the distance and with like Diva Ryan and then just take the Brawl on top of double shield is inherently stronger than just playing double shield.
That's an important point to make.
Say it again.
That's definitely an important thing for us to realize.
And then, like, depending on the tank line, like, then you just kind of like look at support line a little bit and be like, who do we substitute? So, like, if Ana's banned, like, as we saw on the start of Owl, it was like the Kree Ana, Lucio Mei, like Ryan Diva Brawl, right? Well, if Ana's banned, most teams just run Lucio Brig, and then you gauge off of intervals, and those intervals are usually by like how you proc your Inspire. So, and then like, okay, Brig's banned. Okay, maybe we just play Lucio Ana, or if Bat, but like Bap's around, so like a lot of people just play Lucio Bap because then you do the same concept of what you do with Brig. You're engaging off intervals, being your IMO. So, and then like it just kind of like flutters between Bap and Brig because they're just kind of like inherently the best supports of the game in every sense of the word of support. And then like you just kind of like adjust your DPS lineup accordingly to like what the support and what the tank bans are. Like if like hey like Ashe is free and there's no Lucio, you can punish heavily because they can't kite fast enough or rotate fast enough to negate the purposes of what your like Dynamite can inflict and build up for Bob. If like Diva's banned as well, like then that's even more of a reason to play Ashe, and like then you can even play Reaper because then they can't just DM you to where they just focus you and then you have to Wraith out of the team. So it's just kind of like looking at like, wow, who's banned? What do they usually disable? And is that going to be in turn good enough to substitute what we would normally run? You most likely it's usually a no because just Creme is kind of like really good DPS lineup. So
So it sounds like I need to get an alt account and practice my McCree because I don't actually have that much experience on McCree. I can play him, but
literally just play the shit out of McCree. Just grind him in ranked. If you ever get like, so I know occasionally, like, because you guys are in Masters, so like, there's some of you guys are in Masters. If you ever get a Master, sometimes you guys get thrown into GM games. It happens. I've seen it enough. If you ever get that, yeah, if you ever get that occasion where you get into a game with an Owl player, because I know it happens. You've probably had it happen. Have you not?
I have not had that happen. I've not been that far in a match.
Okay, so I heard
Dream Casper.
Yeah, so I'm talking about current Owl players. So if you ever get into a game with a current Owl player, I always recommend, like, if you happen to get shoved into one of those games, go back in the replay and watch what they're doing, because in comp they're legitimately picking heroes that they play in scrims and they're practicing what they do in scrims in comp. Like whenever I got into games with them, I always took that shit to heart, and I implemented it into a team setting, and sooner or later when the match came up when they're playing, that's what they were doing. So if they're ever on alt accounts, like, you can do the same thing, because generally that's what they're doing. If you like Scrim, if you see like people play that normally you watch, like Scrim, let's say, like, I'm trying to think of like a good example is like Scion. They just recently hit contenders. Like people like Lucamino, Grapes, Firewolf, Nish. Now, like, those are high GMs, but like if you know like they Scrim as well, like there's that possibility of you having what do you call it? Like there's times where you'll see them, they even do the same exact thing. They literally play what they play in scrims. They're practicing. So if you recognize someone like that's on a team, you can even maybe go back and look and be like, oh, what are they doing? If you know it's something that you guys are playing as well. And it's like something that actually very well could be something that would be ran into the team setting.
My brain hurts after this scrim.
My autism is fucking peaking.
It's flaring.
Yeah.
So when's the next Scrim?
Yo, who's available tomorrow?
Me.
I am.
Okay.
Can, depending on the time.
Okay, what time? What times are good for you, Mingo? Mingo? Mingo, what times are good for you?
He's not free that time.
Mingo?
Not for tomorrow.
Just depending on the time, if I love.
Mingo, when are you free tomorrow?
Bingo.
Mr. Dynasty.
Hello?
When are you free
What
tomorrow?
time?
What?
What time?
I could be free afternoon, like Pacific, or 7 p.m. again. Pacific.
So, alright, same time then.
Yeah, we should be same
Alright.
time.
I should be okay with the same time. So.
I'm gonna hop out. See you guys.
Alright.
See ya.
How are you?
Toki, you want to be a main support tomorrow?
Let's see. It really depends. I could get back to you depending on how our schedule is and if I'm absolutely pooped from, like, mentally.
Okay.
Honestly, it seems like we should.
Yeah,
be
our actual main support player is a GM, but he's moving into a new house, so you know how that goes.
Yeah, I was like a 4.1k support player, so. But I haven't played since like season 13. I only ring, so.
Barely Masters tank.
Oh, barely Masters. That was probably the first role I think I hit Masters on was tank, and I think I peaked like 3.9 on that. I was unfortunate. I just gave up on hitting GM.
I wish. One day.
I've gotten everything to a decently high like roll and played all of them within like a team setting. So, like,
I suck at Diva, and it's just struggling right now. So
it's such a mind game with Diva, in my opinion. A lot of the times, like if I feel like a lot of divas tend to struggle is like they spread themselves too thin to help in areas where they just at that point should say fuck it and let the person die. You can't babysit everybody.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I have that problem, but then I have the problem. Like it stems from the fact that I don't really know what to do in like everything. So I just have no clue how to play Diva. Is essentially what I'm saying.
And like at that point, like like don't be afraid to like ask like people to be like, hey, you got
Yeah,
any
that's
hey, like seriously, like you could probably go talk to a contender's off tank, like message one of them on Discord and be like, hey, odd question, but do you think you'd have time to ever like evaluate over like my off tank and like tell me like what I could be doing on like Diva because like I'm having struggles, and like some of them like will jump on that opportunity.
I might have to check that out.
Because then they kind of get the time to flex their knowledge and like share with the community.
I might have to try that.
Alright, I have to go, guys. GG's.
Alright, see you, Mango.
Yep.
GG's.
Alright,
Yeah, GG's. I'm gonna get off too.
alright.
Thanks for the scrim today, guys.
Kip and Eternal, you feel like dueling?
What's up?
You
feel like what?
You feel like queuing?
No,
Queuing right now?
I'm mentally boomed.
Alright.
I still need to process everything.
Yeah, have a good night's sleep, man.
See you guys. I'm gonna head out too, I guess.
See ya.
Both in now? Alright.
I'm staying here for a bit if you want to chat.
Okay.
I'm just kind of vibing until there's no one left.